I'd like to officially welcome everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Melissa Whaling, and I'm the Executive Director of PEGASUS Institute. I'd like to welcome everybody to our 2023-2024 Annual General Meeting. But we're so happy to have you here, and we're so grateful to have such a global network of amazing partners and people that we work with. So I'd like to officially welcome you all and officially open the PEGASUS Institute Annual General Meeting 2023-2024.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I guess I'm supposed to be next on the agenda. Or did you want to establish quorum? We do have quorum right now, even without Charles here, Melissa, if we wanted to get started.
Yeah, we can do that. And we also had an official land acknowledgement. So the PEGASUS Institute's home base is located in Waterloo, Ontario. This is the land, this land is part of the Haldimand Tract, which is the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe
and Haudenosaunee peoples.
Haudenosaunee peoples. I looked those up and how to say them properly before, but it's difficult to remember. We are grateful to the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people who allow us to share this land. And just keeping in mind our respect for Indigenous peoples and perspectives, and including them in all of the work that we do through PEGASUS. All right, so again, welcome everyone. I'll let Neil go ahead and officially say a couple words, and then we'll go through the agenda and carry on from there.
Yeah, now I wonder, without Charles here, even though we do have quorum, I think that maybe we'll move those items there, and I'll combine the welcome remarks and the president's statement, perhaps.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So then so our quorum is 3 out of 4 members, as stated in the PEGASUS Institute bylaws. We have 3 members in good standing, so therefore 3 members constitute quorum officially. And Charles will be on his way, so we'll have 100% attendance of our board members.
Okay, well, thank you, Melissa. And just wanted people to realize, like, we're physically situated in Waterloo, Ontario, just because we had to have an incorporation address. But as you can see from the people who are on this call, we aren't just national within Canada, we are international, and it's all of you who really make PEGASUS what it is and what it is becoming. In terms of my comments, I have to say that we've become in better shape year by year, and we started in December of this. We're better year by year in many ways, and now I've got to say, as they say in the State of the Union address in the U.S., the state of our union is strong. That we now have fairly stable staffing, which we didn't have last year. Our financial shape is excellent. And we now have activities, many of which are ongoing, and which people on this call have participated in and led, and those are expanding slowly. We're going to talk later about our networks, our Emerging Leaders Network that Anukriti is helping to coordinate, and the Latin American and Francophone networks that Darren is coordinating. So we'll talk a bit about that. And on the horizon, we actually have new work. We had received, or we're part of a grant that was received from the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council in Canada on peace professionalism. Nathan, who is on the call, helps lead that. There's work with the North American Refugee Health Network and with the Society of Refugee Health Providers in North America, with people in Europe. We're now exploring things with the WHO Academy on Peace Through Health training, and there seems to be substantial interest within different parts of WHO in that. We're even talking about education in Palestine post-emergency phase, during the recovery phase, and I had a call about that earlier today, talking about creative arts and music with refugee populations, something we did 2 years ago and may do again with our Canadian Afghans for Health and Peace, which was more of a placeholder where we were allowing people who had engagement in Afghanistan and resettlement in Canada. We actually have had a few meetings about that today in terms of Afghan mental health in Canada. And then our Emerging Leaders Network is now looking at research on mental health of university students in Ecuador, based on something that someone else from our network had done in Lebanon. So, and we've got a special issue of the International Journal of Health Trends. Sorry, I got something in my throat. And then we have other web pages that we're working on, something with the Internationally Educated Health Professionals Network, something with the College of Family Physicians of Canada and Global Family Medicine, an underserved population webpage here in Canada. So different things that we have to manage. We are looking at expanding relations within Latin America. We had a meeting a few weeks ago with IAPADES, a Guatemalan human rights organization working on small arms. In Kenya, Gertrude's going to be helping coordinate an East African network. We had some meetings earlier. We're exploring things in Brazil. So lots of external relations. We're trying to support CAGH, the Canadian Association for Global Health, as they've gone through a bit of tough times and no longer have staffing and are planning an AGM. So with their environment and global health group, that they're interested in working with us. And we've reached out also to other parts of CAGH to see if we can help. Now, there are some challenges that all of this poses. We have the expanded activities, doing it very quickly, does represent something that will strain staff, and people will be stretched in different directions. Our charitable status, which we achieved in the spring and haven't really used it too much in terms of receiving that many donations, it helps us in terms of credibility and being able to issue those receipts, but it also restricts us in terms of activities. And we have to be fairly careful that we do not engage in anything that would be politically partisan or anything that goes beyond our charitable objectives. Our funding, as I said, is in good shape. We have the Canadian Medical Foundation, which is now supporting us into a third year of activity. And this provides more than half of what our revenues are. And so that also is a threat in terms of not having the core funding. And we functioned without an ED for about 6 months of Melissa's mat leave. And we saved some money related to that with I and some other board members taking over some activities. But if we didn't have that, if we were paying for an ED during that time, we would have barely broken even this year. So we have to think about applying for more funding, especially core funding, and making sure with our activities we use many of you as volunteers to help manage things, and we have to be applying for grants with our staffing level. We had McGill courses, which stimulated a lot of interest and activity, and we see people from our Latin American and Francophone networks here. So we offered 5 courses last year. Peace Through Health, which was in English only, Environment and Global Health in English and French, and Migration and Health in English and Spanish. We aren't offering the migration courses this year, and we're not offering the French version of the Environment and Global Health, just consolidating some of our activities. But we have to continue to reach out and show that we're relevant to different parts of the world. So basically new challenges, but we will have to meet up with those, and I'm sure we will, as we have in the last few years in terms of expanding. Other types of things that we might want to be looking at in the near future, our staffing is largely part-time and contract, and this gives us some flexibility, and we are less vulnerable in terms of people who are sticking around, but it will be a threat unless we get core funding, because we have to be able to promise our staff and deliver that way. We have to think about membership and getting new volunteers for projects, and we have really it's an embarrassment of riches in some ways in terms of the volunteers and how you've stepped up in the past to help lead projects, but we have to think about what is membership. And we may even think about whether we actually have a fee for membership that would be based on a sliding scale of, for instance, students would not be paying so much, nor people in low resource settings. But we will have to define membership and what are membership benefits if we do that. We now have our accounting and bookkeeping done more, that as of next year, we're probably going to get audited financial statements. So this will help in terms of accountability, and we will have to think about fundraising, as I mentioned. With our board, we had a couple of resignations, which we were expecting, that people had different activities that they were busy with. And only now we're actually taking a couple of new board members, hopefully today, but we may think about other board members dependent upon real needs, because we are trying to not just have people who are interested in global health, but people who have certain expertise for us. And for instance, Sankath, who's on the call, who's a lawyer, who's been involved in global health activities for so many years, we were especially thankful to have his informal legal expertise on a number of occasions this year, which we could talk about, but nothing that was too serious. But we may think about some of the financial expertise and other things that we need. And then finally, thinking about use of the web. I think that we haven't looked at our web tools in terms of communication, fundraising, and other ways, but we've got some expertise in our staff and those of you out here to better use the web. So I think that's a bit of an overall resume of what we have. And in my report, I talk a little bit more about specifics, and we're going to talk more about some of our other activities as today moves on. So thank you.
Thanks, Neil. What we'll do first, I think, is just as the agenda, we'll do the more get the formalities out of the way. So in terms of our 4 standing board members right now, we just have to officially put forth a motion to approve the agenda for this meeting. So can I request someone put forth the motion to do so from the board of directors? Gertrude, thank you. And second, Charles, thank you very much. And all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go through a couple formalities, including approval of the minutes from our last board of directors meeting, as well as the approval of the meeting minutes from last year's annual general meeting. And then we'll continue on from there and just explain a little bit about what Pegasus is up to these days, expanding on what Neil was talking about, and go from there. All right. So in terms of setting off the AGM, we want to start off by kind of taking a look at our updated vision and mission. So we'll talk a little bit about it later on, and Darren will explain a bit more about the strategic planning process that has gone on in 2023 and into 2024. But where we stand right now, we've slightly revised our vision and mission to suit more of what we're doing and to kind of pivot in a way that makes sense to us all, using words that are important to us. So our vision has changed to an effective collaborative network that promotes the interconnection of peace, environmental sustainability, and health for all. So we wanted to make sure that we're including the network piece within our mission, because most of what Pegasus does is network and bring people together to collaborate. So we wanted to include that. And then our mission is to engage in collaborative knowledge exchange, network formation, and research activities that address the interconnectedness between peace, environmental sustainability, and health for all. So that's kind of our action and what we want to take place. All right. So a formal package was sent to our board members, who are all in good standing, as they've been board members for at least 45 days or more. And this package included the agenda, meeting minutes, financial statements and summaries, as well as our strategic and annual reports for 2023 going into 2024. So we're just going to quickly go through, and if people do need to see the actual minutes themselves, we're able to pull that up. So do just let us know verbally if you do. But can I have one of the board members put forth a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last year's AGM, please? I have to scroll to see all of you, so maybe it might be better if you are able to tell me verbally.
Well, I approve.
Thank you, Charles. And a seconder?
I can second it.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Getting through our formalities.
I'm in favor too, and
yes, all in favor. All right, and then approval of our meeting minutes from our last meeting, February 2024. This is just more of a formality. Is someone willing to put forth a motion to approve the meeting minutes of February 2024?
I approve the minutes, Melissa.
And do you want to move
Gertrude.
the last meeting's minutes, Gertrude?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And second? Charles?
Okay.
And
I'll
all in
second.
favor? Yes, Neil and Sangeet. Okay, great. Thank you. They're the same as we had from our last annual general meeting, our PEGASUS Institute bylaws. So can I have someone from the board put forth a motion to approve the PEGASUS Institute bylaws as they stand?
I'll put
Sorry, it's
that
easy.
motion forward.
Thanks, Charles. And I just have to, it's a little easier if people are able to verbalize because I have to scroll through my screen.
Yeah.
And someone to second?
I'm in favor.
Thanks, Neil. And Gertrude and Sangeet, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So Neil went through a lot of what we've done throughout 2023, but I can just go over things in a little bit more detail, tell you a little bit more about what we've been up to, and then we'll have some others speak a little bit about certain areas, and we can go on from there. So again, I was, for most of 2023, I was on parental leave. So unfortunately, I missed a lot of the wonderful activities that PEGASUS was taking part in, but I came back in October of 2023. And I was really, really pleased to see everything that was going on. And all that was accomplished in that year, especially considering that there was a lot of staff changes. There was a lot of, Neil was able to take over for a while. There was no ED to take over in my place for a little while. But I was still just so blown away by all the things that have happened through a lot of volunteer power from the board and advisory board, our networks, participants, volunteers, as well as the staff that were around. So that was really, really wonderful to see. And on top of that, it was really nice to come back to a number of staff members that we have currently. Previously, I was kind of working alone as the only paid staff member, and having everyone else be volunteers. So it was nice to see really talented and capable and efficient, kind human beings there, already keeping things in motion and actually bringing me back up to date with things. So I was really thankful to return to that, as well as thankful for the work of our previous staff members who carried things along, such as Chloe Eward, Eileen Rakamora, Maddie McCarville, and Navia Nair. So they were former staff members. And then our current staff members, Rachel Waynes, Darren Waynes, and Anurkati Nigam. Thank you very much. And Anurkati Nigam for being there and supporting everything all the way through. It's just been absolutely wonderful having you all. And then we have a whole bunch of contractors that are helping us run our programs and helping us on the side with our technical capabilities, such as our websites and running our internationally educated healthcare professionals project. And then again, the board and our advisory board are always there helping, pulling things through and being way more active than I've seen some other boards be. So thank you so much to everyone. And on top of it, we've had wonderful donors and funders, such as the Canadian Medical Foundation and others that Neil spoke about before. So in terms of our PEGASUS Institute networks in 2023, a lot of networking, knowledge sharing, actual activities were taking place within our Emerging Leaders Network, our Francophone network, and our Latin American networks. And then in addition was the start and formation of our East African network that's currently being developed. And within that, the Institute hosted 12 interactive educational webinars that were held by these 3 networks. 6 were conducted in French, 3 in Spanish, and 3 in English as well. And they covered various themes in peace, global health, and environmental sustainability. In addition to hosting and participating in webinars, the 3 networks have also engaged in many other activities. And I'll pass it over to Darren and then Anukrathy to explain a little bit more about what the networks were up to in 2023.
Hi, thanks, Melissa. Yeah, so the French network, one of the things that they've been working on is a special issue journal through a journal that's run through Toronto Metropolitan University. So one of the faculty members there is on our Francophone network, and she had this idea of opening up a special issue that would be not only for English speakers, but for French speakers as well. And the interesting thing about this special issue is that it's not purely academic. It also has room for people to submit articles that are more of about practical things that they've done. Maybe if they're running a clinic or something like that, more about lived experiences. So there's a wide range of different topics that can cover, not purely just academic. And so that's on top of all the various webinars that we've been running. And then for the Latin American network, we've had a good number of webinars. And in addition to that, after Neil was involved when he traveled to Ecuador and helping to form this subgroup within the Latin American network that was with members of Ecuador, and they are very involved. And we're hoping that some of the activities that they do that are not just particular to Ecuador can kind of layer over into the other activities within the network. And in addition to that, we've been having some meetings with some other organization. There's an organization that works with reducing violence in Guatemala that we're looking into collaboration with. We're hoping to run a 2-part seminar with them to kind of not only give exposure to the good work they're doing, but to look into how we can connect our members who are doing similar work in their respective countries. So we're very excited in the way that the network is growing, but also seeing these cross-collaborative opportunities between people from different countries who are doing very similar work.
Thanks, Darren. And Anukrathy, did you want to explain a little bit about what the Emerging Leaders Network was doing in 2023?
Sure. So for 2023, only by the fall, we were able to pick up the Emerging Leaders Network again. And we had a couple of webinars on a monthly basis where we invited speakers who spoke around peace, global health, and sustainability. We also started ensuring that the Emerging Leaders Network, they have a cohesive environment for them. So we had developed a leadership structure where people were involved who took up roles of leaders as well as executives, and they were advised by our 3 advisors. We also further started putting efforts in socials for them. So we had a social in the end of December, and which has transitioned to now monthly socials. We also gave them opportunities to work in 5 sectors, especially peace, violence, and environment, mental health, social justice, determinants of health, refugee and indigenous population, giving them the opportunity to actually engage and learn more about these through whatever is going on. In terms of call of papers, we gave them opportunities for developing working groups. So we do have one working group who's working on a scoping review, as well as one project with the university students for the mental health in Ecuador. That's currently going on and hoping to progress more in the coming year. Yeah, and we have ensured that things are more engaged, and we will be starting a mentorship program soon. And things are all looking positive for the Emerging Leaders Network.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And Gertrude, I don't know if you wanted to just quickly mention a little bit about the beginnings of the development of the East African Network, if you are able to.
Sure, no problem, Melissa. Hi, everybody. And so there's been some interest in some of our folks in East Africa to participate more substantially in the workings of PEGASUS. And so we are looking into developing an East African chapter. The slight difficulty is just the time zone. And so with that, we're looking at how we can engage some of our colleagues in East Africa. We say only East because it's more Anglophone, and a lot of the Francophone Africa has joined the Francophone network. And so we do have our members already in some of the other groups, but there's a need has been expressed for East African folk and possibly other Anglophone countries in Africa. And so we're really looking forward to expanding this and seeing what we can do in the next coming weeks. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Gertrude. Gertrude, Anukrathy, and Darren are the staff and board leads of our networks. But within the networks themselves, there are quite a few leaders and people who are the networks themselves are basically self-led, and they're really taking off in terms of planning and doing kind of what they're interested in doing, and taking a look at different aspects of peace, global health, and sustainability that they're interested in as well, in those contexts. So in addition, as Neil mentioned before, just talking a little bit about our charitable status. So gaining our charitable status is actually a big deal because PEGASUS was previously a nonprofit. And as Neil mentioned, it does come with some restrictions as well and some challenges, but there's a lot of benefits that come along with the charitable status in terms of recognition and enhancing accountability and transparency and trust in terms of having that charitable status. And then in addition, we're able to give out official tax receipts. So it opens up a lot of opportunities in terms of our fundraising and income generation activities. We worked really hard to get to this point and went through a big process with the CRA. So I was really, really happy to see that this had happened in April of 2023 upon my return in October. So in terms of our strategic planning and what's gone on this year as well, our board and stakeholders began to revisit and revise our collective strategic vision, and starting with our strategic planning retreat that was held in Ottawa. And we continue to develop these strategic plans. They're ongoing and things change over time slowly. And you won't see huge drastic changes necessarily, but they're changes that are quite significant that make a difference to what we're doing in terms of our activities and direction. So I'll let Darren explain a little bit more about the strategic planning processes that went on, as he had led these processes both in Ottawa at our in-person and virtual hybrid event, as well as follow-up meetings afterwards with our strategic planning committee.
Yeah, so we initially met in Ottawa, and that included the board of directors, advisory board members, and a number of special guests who were very involved with PEGASUS and had a lot of wisdom to share. It was an 8-hour meeting, and we got through a lot. And basically, what we were really trying to do was solidify and establish what our identity was, and that included revising our vision statement and our mission statement. So if you have your strategic report that was sent in the package, you can see our updated vision statement is: we aspire to nurture meaningful reciprocal relationships to promote peace, sustainability, and health for all. And our mission statement now is to engage in collaborative knowledge exchange, network formation, and research activities that address the interconnections between peace, environmental sustainability, and health for all. So basically, the vision and the mission statements, it was very important to get nail these down and to really understand what direction we want to take Pegasus, because the mission and vision statement will feed into all of our activities and our objectives. So one of the activities that we did to really help us establish where we want to go was known as a SWOT analysis, and that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is a helpful activity that organizations can do to really identify where they are in the landscape, what their strengths are that they can leverage, the weaknesses they need to be cognizant of, the opportunities that they can grab, and also any threats that lie on the horizon. And so that was really helpful in understanding just Pegasus, where we were over the last few years and where we think we could go based on our institutional profile. In addition to that, we also did what was known as like a stakeholder analysis. And basically, a stakeholder analysis is looking at all the different groups that we interact with and how they interact with us, how we affect them, how they affect us. And it's very tied in as well with the strength and weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis, because in many ways, what happens in our relationship with one stakeholder group could affect us negatively or positively. And so after we had gotten to the end of our meeting, we realized that there was still quite a bit to go. And so we decided to establish a strategic subcommittee that would continue on this work. And part of that was to establish our strategic pillars. And the strategic pillars are kind of what are going to be the main things that drive our objectives. So we identified these as engagement, equitable partnerships, and knowledge exchange. And these three pillars are really foundational to a lot of the work that Pegasus does. And from that, we established different objectives that can fall into each of those buckets. And with those objectives, we're also looking at metrics. We don't just want to write down in a report what our plans are for the future and then leave it at that. We also want to have some measurable impact and be able to go back and say, did we meet these objectives? If not, what do we need to do to meet them? How can we improve on them? So we've finalized most of the strategic planning processes, and what we're still looking into is some of the ways that we can measure our activities and the impacts that we have listed in the report. But now the next step is really trying to put these objectives into action and line up our activities with these objectives.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. And yeah, I participated in the strategic planning processes, and it's always a very important aspect of what we do as an institution, organization, as we go along. And we're developing also strategic activities based on our strategic plan at the moment as well. That will lead into 2024. So in addition to the strategic planning retreat and all these wonderful webinars and meetings and other things that were going on. In 2023, PEGASUS Institute also took part in 6 projects in collaboration with universities and industry partners. In 2003, we initiated discussions and began to develop research proposals and outlines on topics such as mental health and peace building strategies in the Wajir province of Kenya, peace professionalism, as well as an exploratory study on transactional sex for fish in the lake zone area of Lake Victoria. Now, this is in addition to continuing to seek funding for previously developed projects in other years on environmental justice and environmental racism, differences in worldviews between Indigenous-led policing and non-Indigenous policing that impact frontline police behavior, violence and outcomes, and then also addressing gender-based violence and data gaps through an evidence-based multi-country platform and partnerships. So those were previously developed projects that we're still looking to find funding for, that we can help push through with our partners that helped us develop these. as you can tell probably by some of the titles, a lot of our research projects are not only local within Canada, but they're global research projects that we're working on with folks through our various networks. In addition, as Neil mentioned earlier, which is one of our income generating activities, but it is also foundational to the educational basis of PEGASUS Institute. Last year in 2023, we participated in the McGill Summer Institute in Peace, Global Health, and Sustainability, which will be happening again this summer as well. In 2023, the Institute offered 5 courses, as Neil mentioned, in languages including French, English, and Spanish, which was a new idea that surfaced in 2023. And the courses drew in 148 students from across the globe, as well as facilitators from across the globe from many different countries. And 18 students from low to middle income countries were awarded registration scholarships to the Peace Through Health course that was supported by the Penrose Trust. So Darren, I'll get you to explain a little bit more about the McGill Summer Institute and Peace, Global Health, Sustainability, and what we have coming up for 2024, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. So this year we've kind of reduced the scope of the number of courses we're offering and also the languages. We really wanted to just focus on 2 and just up our registration numbers for those particular courses. So this year we'll be running Peace Through Health and Environment and Global Health. And so we've got a great cohort of instructors. Some are reprising their role from last year, but we've also got a number of new instructors and also covering new topics based on different events that are happening, that have happened since last year that we'd really want to address. And so in addition to that, for the Peace Through Health, we were very happy to know that the Penrose Trust was going to be providing funding again so that we could offer registration scholarships. And so we've been receiving dozens of applications so far, and we are in the process of reviewing those. And those are important because it really gives an opportunity from students from low to middle income countries who otherwise might not have the opportunity to participate. And they can also take part in the different networking opportunities that these courses afford. Many of the students who attend these courses do get involved with PEGASUS in some manner or other. A number of students from last year got involved in either our Emerging Leaders Network, our Francophone or Latin American network. So it's in addition to being a great tool for education, it's also a great way to invite new people into our networks and really expand in that area. Was there anything else you wanted me to comment on for those courses, Melissa?
No, that's perfect. Thank you, Darren. I appreciate it. In addition to this educational activity, just as a side note, meetings did start in 2023 and are following up in 2024 to hopefully have PEGASUS work with the World Health Organization Academy, so the WHO Academy, to produce some educational course materials as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll move forward with that, and we'll hopefully by our next meeting next year, we'll be able to tell you a little bit more about that. So another significant portion of what was started last year and is now running into this year and beyond is our Canadian Medical Foundation supported Internationally Educated Health Professionals Project. So the project itself is developed and designed to assist internationally educated health professionals, I'll call them IAHPs, in understanding and exploring opportunities to fully utilize their many skills and assets in Canada. So there are many barriers faced by IAHPs in being able to practice their professions in Canada. So not only does it help them explore opportunities and it helps them actually walk through the process and provides knowledge exchange around pathways and solutions to seeking integration into the system, the Canadian healthcare system. In addition, the project provides alternative career paths in health and development, as the reality, unfortunately, is that not everyone has the time, money, and ability to put into recertification in Canada. So we also offer another pathway that's very realistic in terms of providing other alternative career paths that would be interesting and fulfilling to people in the areas of health and development. And also to provide physicians and other interested individuals, the foundations and corporations, the opportunity to support, so others who could be hiring internationally educated professionals, information and support on how to better integrate IEHPs into their medical professions as well. So this is a very extensive project, and so far it has a number of components. It provides a comprehensive support structure that supports IEHP's abilities and goals, and it's dedicated to addressing the unique challenges that they face in their path to eligibility for practice in Canada by providing knowledge exchange opportunities, training, support, mentoring. So one of the main aspects of this is going to be our mentorship program, networking opportunities, and guided advice to IEHPs with a focus on refugees. So it offers a broad range of strategies, pathways, and solutions. And one of the main aspects of this is our online web portal, internationalhealthprofessionals.ca, which is currently technically not active, but will be so on March 15th. Right now, what is happening is we are allowing and including, so the development of the online portal stemmed from a number of focus groups with IEHPs themselves and having them identify what they'd like to see on a resource portal. And then development of the portal itself by contractors and staff that are actually IEHPs themselves, the majority of them. And now it's being tested by end users or IEHPs before it's set to go live to the public to make sure that it's suited to and benefiting the end user, which would be internationally educated health professionals. So really focusing on co-creation and making sure that our digital product is very useful and relevant to those who are using it. Another aspect of the project is very multilingual and culturally specific. So different components of the online resource platform are going to be in French, for example, and then within the mentorship program and other aspects of the program, we're going to link people up with similar language and cultural backgrounds so that people feel more comfortable and are able to be mentored by people who potentially came from the same place or around the same place as them. So that's an option as well. And just increasing access and ease of people feeling welcomed by the project and being able to navigate potentially a little bit more in their mother tongues. And then access to an extensive network of other internationally educated health professionals who will be mentors themselves, and then internationally educated health related professionals, so people who are working on a daily basis with IEHPs. So these are national partners that we have across the country, for example, from resettlement organizations, refugee health networks, refugee clinics, so people who are involved in directly working with immigrants and refugees. And then again, all phases of the project have been co-created by and developed by IEHPs. So in addition to what we did in 2023 by starting off with the 2 events, so one in Calgary and one in Ottawa, which were hybrid events that allowed people to come together and share information and to discuss challenges and barriers faced, solutions and ways forward, and to present on different topics that were identified as relevant to IEHPs. there were also focus groups held, as I mentioned before. And then in late 2023, PEGASUS Institute and the Canadian Medical Foundation initiated meetings with national partners of IHP groups and those who work directly with them to discuss opportunities and ways forward in expanding our current work. So we realized with what we're doing now, it's a really important project and it's really desired and in need. So we were thinking, well, what could we do to maximize the benefits to the internationally educated health professionals? So we're looking for a more long-term support. So we actually brought everybody together to apply for more funding for an extensive 5-year plan. So that's exciting and coming up in the works. And in 2024, we submitted a proposal to IRCC, and we're really looking forward to moving that forward. Neil, I didn't know if you wanted to say anything more about that, or if anybody else from the IHP team, Mohammed or Saida or anybody else wanted to.
Yeah, and no, I think that it would be good to open it up to people who are leading some of these projects, people who are part of the networks now, but I know we still have a couple of other business items, but yeah, I'd like to see whether we get more interaction and maybe Saida and Mohammed can share more about this, but then other people can share about their participation in other networks and have questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed Nashat. I'm the founder of Baytech IT Limited. I've been contacted by PEGASUS Institute to work on IT project in general, particularly on the IEHP project. It's been really exciting. The work is really rewarding to me, given that I'm already an IEHP. I'm an educated pharmacist as well. So what I will do now, I'll just share my screen just to show you a quick overview of the project. Just quickly. So anyone can just go and test the website. It's just on the staging right now. So if you go to staging.internationalhealthprofessionals.ca, and you will end up with this. So a second. Okay. Yeah. So this is the website. The current website is just like when we designed the website, mostly we were just thinking of simplicity and inclusiveness of every part of the Canadian community. Sounds good. Okay, so this is just the simplicity, how the staging website looks. And we're currently, as Melissa was saying, we're collecting feedback and working back and forth on improving the aspects of the website. So here we have, like the professions, and then, like based on the profession itself, we can have many other tabs and as Melissa said, we have alternate pathways focusing on, for physicians and everyone that, it's been a great working together, just to put everything as simple as possible. And with including maps and stuff to just eye-catching for internationally educated health professionals. And as I said, we're mostly focusing on the simplicity. So given that, and so any English as a second language professionals can just understand it easily. And we have the resources, and we have we're keeping open eye on the resources that is available for international educated health professionals, and we're trying to complement them as much as possible. That's why we have all of the the resources included in our resource page, and we have the events, and we have a contact page, and then we have the mentorship that it's mostly gonna differentiate this project. And this is starting very soon. And we're mostly now working on physicians, nurses, and then midwives as well. Then we will be expanding more into dentists, pharmacists, and other health professionals. And Melissa?
Thank you very much, Mohammed. We really appreciate you showing us that. So that's just a sneak preview of our staging site, which is going to go live on March 15th. And again, we're retrieving feedback now from any internationally educated health professionals themselves. So if you are one yourself and wish to review the site, do let us know. We have a list of folks that are already doing it, but any feedback is really appreciated. So in addition to our wonderful IEHP project and site, PEGASUS Institute has recently made some really exciting updates to our website. Wonderful Mohammed has been doing a great job on revamping so much of our web presence, which has really helped us push things forward so we can better connect with the global community and amplify our actual real world efforts and what we're doing. So our updates reflect a need and desire to provide a useful tool for knowledge exchange and connectivity, engagement, and support. And we're committed to clearly and effectively communicating essential information in a simplified way that really depicts our unique work, because I think the work of PEGASUS is truly unique in the sense that we really look at the interlinkages between peace, health, global health, and environmental sustainability. And we want to provide an interactive platform for education, conversation, and sharing where people feel welcome and feel that they can connect with us. So again, we still need to do quite a bit of updating, but again, Mohammed's been just pushing so much forward in terms of his ability and strength on the web front. So some more updates will be coming for our PEGASUS Institute website. It's continually in development. So keep an eye on things, and you can go there to take a look at what's happening, any upcoming events, and connect with us in any other way. And if you have any questions or any, I guess, feedback about our website, just let us know as well. And then in addition, PEGASUS Institute has taken on a couple other web development projects, such as the underserved.ca site. So Neil actually co-edited the book Underserved, Health Determinants of Indigenous, Inner City, and Migrant Populations in Canada. And as the website for Underserved and the various projects that go on with that, it just made sense for PEGASUS Institute to take that on, as the book itself and the point of the Underserved site takes a look at bringing together the different perspectives of academics, frontline healthcare providers, policymakers, from the historical, political, and social factors that influence health and healthcare for underserved populations within Canada. And again, this includes factors like family and community, government policies, mental health and addiction, homelessness and housing, racism, youth, and LGBTQ identity. So taking this project under the wing of PEGASUS Institute makes a lot of sense for us, and we'll continue to develop that as well and have that under our wing. And then in addition, the third or I guess the fourth with our IHP site as well, is the Global Family Medicine site, so globalfamilymedicine.org, which is a project that explores the mapping of family medicine around the world. And so we're now developing a collaboration with CFPC, Bursar Center, advancing global family medicine work to educate regarding the impact of family medicine around the world. And we'll be improving the webpage and adding more data based on surveys and developing papers and grant proposals to further this work. So taking in some additional web presence and projects that are already kind of established that really do fit with the mission and vision of PEGASUS Institute. So I don't know if Neil, you wanted to explain any more about the underserved or global family medicine, or even Anukrathy. I know you worked on that a little bit, or I think I explained enough, but it's up to you.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that, but because we've got little time, it's just good to have others comment if others have been involved in projects, or if people have questions about things, because we've presented a lot of information.
Yes, definitely. Does anyone have any particular comments or questions about or updates on the work you're doing in terms of global health, peace, and sustainability.
I might want to actually ask, say, Nathan to talk about our the peace professionalism project, for instance, since we haven't talked much about that, and then other people if they want to talk about projects or their involvement with Pegasus.
Hello. Am I coming through now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Neil, for the invitation. Yeah, and thank you for your own involvement with the growing partnership network for the Peace Professionalism Project. It's a SSHRC-funded research project where we're really trying to build a richer dialogue around the essential skills, competencies, and values of people who want to work professionally in the peace and peace building field. And we see the field is a bit fragmented in terms of there are many different conversations about ethics and practices. There are many graduate programs training people for engaging with peace building, but there to date there hasn't been a really well-developed conversation on the value added of peace professionals and the soft skills, the ethos, and one thing that we really welcome in terms of collaboration with Pegasus is insight from a field that to which those conversations have in which those conversations have developed much further, arguably, and in exploring the intersections between health and peace is another way of reflecting on how we train for peace and peace building, how we conduct ourselves in settings of violence, conflict, injustice, how we engage with communities and respect local knowledge. So we meet as a team of scholars and practitioners monthly, and of course there are other activities that go on with directors and subcommittees, but we've been working now for the better part of a year, and we have a website for peace professionalism I'd be happy to share. Yeah, that's a very, very brief overview. So thank you, Neil, for the invitation to comment on that.
Thank you. So anybody else who's been involved with the networks that we've had or the IEHP project? I think Eva was on here too. Oh yeah, maybe Saida and then Eva in terms of their funding and our partnership. I wonder if there are other people who want to speak.
Thank you, Neil, and thank you everybody here. And so I'm going to mainly talk about the IEHP project, and Melissa and Mohammed already have given a very detailed update on that. But I just want to say that it was a great experience. It has been a great experience working with the team. And we have been trying to produce like a one-stop shop or a place where all the information for the professional growth for IEHPs are available in a single place, which is simple and also covers everything. We have reached a long way on the process. So we have been able to cover physicians now and also covering nurses to a certain extent, and also midwives, but we will be expanding to other professions as well. So once we're able to get the survey responses, we will be able to go live, and we're really excited about it becoming live, and we look forward to your feedback as well. So yeah, it has been a great experience so far, and that's what I wanted to tell you all. Thank you.
And Eva, we'd like to hear from you.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I'm working as a consultant with the Canadian Medical Foundation and have been following along with all the great work that Saida and Mohammed have been doing, of course, under Melissa's wonderful leadership and Neil's as well. And this project is with the internationally educated health professionals is a really exciting partnership between CMF, the Canadian Medical Foundation, and PEGASUS. And we're really keeping our fingers crossed that funding comes through from the Immigrations, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. It's a way that we really like merging the global and local contexts and the challenges. We know about Canada's health human resources challenges, the shortages in the health workforce, and really see that this is a mutually beneficial initiative for both the people coming to Canada and for those who are already here. And so I'm hopeful that this project will just grow and develop further beyond what limited funding CMF can provide. So looking forward to getting feedback from everybody and seeing how this progresses. Thank you.
Yeah, and I should add to that that for those who are just seeing the video later, this is for people within Canada. So it is not meant to contribute to a global brain drain. And even if we are looking at refugees from overseas, there will be people who won't be able to practice in the country in which they currently are if they come to Canada. So this is very much meant to meet a need in Canada. We did say that refugees were our priority population, even though that this is very relevant to other internationally educated health professionals, and we wanted to go well beyond physicians. And we're really grateful that the Canadian Medical Foundation is also willing to go beyond physicians. So thanks. Now, I wonder, Melissa, do you think that we should go to the new board member stuff?
Yeah, so we have to do an official reinstatement of the current board of directors, and then we also have to do the voting on the new board members as well. So the official nomination and welcome of them. I guess, can someone put forth a motion for and a vote for the reinstatement of and approval of the current board of directors in terms of our board of directors members?
Yeah, I'll put forth that motion. We've got a great board, and hopefully it'll be expanded very shortly.
Thank you. And anyone to second?
I second, Melissa.
Thank you, Gertrude. And all in favor in terms of Charles and Sankeet. All right, great. Seeing thumbs up. Great. And so we wanted to send out a big thank you as well for our previous board members who helped us along the way previously and in 2023. And thank you to Erica, Vinay, Alex, and Dorothy. There was a lot of effort and time put in by these members, and we're so thankful for your time and your wisdom that you've shared with us. So moving on to our thank yous to our advisory board. You continue to provide us with such a strength and be really active in what we're doing and connect us even further on a global scale. You all bring such diverse skills to the table and such knowledge and wisdom, and we really appreciate everything you do and your participation in our meetings and the activities and events that go on with PEGASUS. So thanks to all of you. Darren actually already went over the strategic planning report, so we'll skip that. So on to new board nomination approvals. Both Jan Hatcher-Roberts, who's currently on our advisory board, and Kelly Emblem, who is a member of our Emerging Leaders Network, were nominated to be officially a part of PEGASUS Institute Board of Directors. So what we'll do is I'll have someone put forth the motion to accept Jan and Kelly officially onto the Board of Directors, and then someone to second it, and everyone to vote.
I can put forth the motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Sankeet put forward the motion. Can I have someone to second it?
I'll second it, but I did want to speak to the motion. So
yes, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I just, so in terms of this, as you see, we were a board of 8 at one time, and we're down to 4. And it's nice to have a couple new people. We still may take others in the next year, hopefully, but that has to be formally done at the AGM. Jan has been a leader in global health for so many years and a mentor to so many, and she's put in a lot of time within PEGASUS. So from leading the Canadian Association for Global Health, or what was the Canadian Society for International Health at one point for, I think, 25 years or so, and involvement in many international projects, involvement in teaching. So we're really, she was working harder than a board member, I think, even in terms of as an advisory board person. So so we're really grateful to have that, and that also went beyond just the advice when we had our event on Wolf Island. She provided 2 huge meals for like 30 people. She couldn't make it herself, and she sent it from Ottawa to Kingston for us. So just very generous in so many ways, as well as with wisdom. So that's why I strongly support that. And Kelly also is a relatively recent person. She took our course on Peace Through Health, and she is a real young leader, an occupational therapist, represents different cultures. She chose to spend time at our strategic planning meeting and also agreed to host people. She's presented in our ELN network and our social, coordinating something. So another very talented young person, and we felt we needed a representative, at least one from our Emerging Leaders Network on the board. So that's why I strongly support these 2 new members. I don't know. I know that Jan wasn't able to make it here today, but did Kelly want to say anything before we vote?
Sure. I guess I could do a brief introduction about who I am. Neil kind of captured me in a little nutshell, but yeah, I'm Kelly. For those who don't know me, I'm an occupational therapist. I'm, as he said, Neil said, I straddle 2 different cultures. I'm Canadian and Nepali. I grew up in Nepal and Vietnam, and did my bachelor's of environmental studies, poli-sci, and archaeology at the University of Toronto. So I really do pride myself on taking a broad interdisciplinary approach to whatever problem I'm facing. It's why I got into occupational therapy, to be able to contribute internationally in some way to the communities that I grew up in. I currently work at Queen's University in the International Center for Advancement of Community-Based Rehab, working specifically in health system strengthening and workforce development. So looking at bringing occupational therapy and strengthening the presence of rehabilitation in Ethiopia currently. I also work part-time clinically with military veterans in mental health and pediatric addiction as well. I'm really happy to be part of PEGASUS. It's a wonderful institute, and the ELN is so vibrant. So I'm very happy to be able to represent such a broad, diverse group of individuals, and happy to contribute in any way. So thank you for welcoming me, everyone.
Thank you so much, Kelly. We really appreciate it. And thank you for all your contributions since you've joined the ELN as well, and PEGASUS as a whole. Okay, so I guess we'll finish the voting to make sure it's official. So I just need to hear from Charles and Sankeet. Thumbs up. Okay, good. All right. So all in favor of approving Jan Hatcher-Roberts and Kelly Emblem on the board of directors of PEGASUS Institute. So welcome. Thank you. And thanks, Gertrude, as well. I know you verbally voted before, so thanks a lot. Great. So now is a few minutes left in the meeting. If we want to have any discussion, if people want to ask questions, if people want to talk about their experiences with Pegasus, give us any feedback.
Yeah, we're so honored to have people here who aren't on our official Pegasus things, who've contributed to different projects here. I don't want to single out anybody. Esther hasn't shown herself, and I think she might be gone, but she's an Indigenous leader from New Mexico who's been involved in a lot of things in terms of environment type things. And Kevin, I think, came later. He's in Nova Scotia and a leader in refugee health. Afnan, student leader, also interested in refugee and peace issues, and she was very helpful with our conference when we had that. Innocent, the WHO rep to the African Union before, who has contributed a lot to our Francophone network. Claire has contributed a lot to global health, particularly, well, now in Ethiopia, but also with refugees in Canada. And Jill, in terms of Indigenous health and medical education on our advisory board. So we just have so many people in our extended network, and I'd say our extended network really does involve probably in the less than 200, but more than 100 people, I think, in terms of people who've contributed in very material ways to us over the years. So we're just so thankful for all of you. I hope I didn't miss anybody else on the call who hasn't spoken. So thank you all.
Again, I just wanted to thank everybody, as Neil did. If it wasn't for all of you, then Pegasus wouldn't be able to do the wonderful work that we're able to do. I've personally, over the years, just working with Pegasus, gained so much knowledge and experience from each and every one of you. Thank you for guiding us along, teaching us, sharing with us, and again, we all are various pieces to the puzzle that create the bigger picture. And so I believe that we can keep on doing this and make a really significant impact in terms of peace and equity, global health, and environmental sustainability, and really bringing the interconnection of those to the forefront. So thank you all again for joining us, and I'm going to officially adjourn the meeting, and I hope you all have a good morning, evening, night, because we're all in different time zones, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, everyone.